Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Chondro Corner on the Herp Collectors Network. This is episode 32. As many of you know, I brought Bill on for my very first episode of Chondro Corner. So it is an honor and privilege to actually have my life in order a little bit and be doing a little bit better at these now and to bring him back on tonight. Before we get going, just a quick shout out to a few visitors. Mike from 1776 Exotics, thank you for tuning in tonight. As he prefaced, congrats Bill on amazing clutches. Most of you have seen Bill has made some amazing babies. Quite honestly, he's probably topped some of his previous clutches if you just want my honest opinion. And that's not because I want to get on a wait list. Marcus and Tiffany, thank you for tuning in. Mike from Morph Avenue, thank you for hopping on. Adrian, thank you for tuning in. Low Life Exotics, thank you for coming on tonight. Good evening, Gus. Thank you for tuning in. And without further ado, my mentor and friend, Bill Stegall.
Hi, Jen. How are you?
I'm so excited. I actually have my life in order this time.
You didn't have your life in order last time I was on?
I was a train wreck for my very first episode. Are you kidding? I watched that already and I'm like, I cringe.
And now look at you, a seasoned pro with what episode? How many?
32, but we divide that in half because Ro picks up on my other end. So,
all right. Well, Ro doesn't count. So,
he still counts, though. Come on, play nice in the sandbox.
I know. I'm just giving him a hard time. I love Ro.
I do too. He's really good people and like comes through without any hesitation. So, like, I asked for a week off for a family vacation, and I was like, Ro, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do this with all these kids running around a rental. So he's pulling through for me on that too. So he's a great partner in crime for sure.
Well, good. Well, thanks again for having me on. Just kind of by luck or circumstance, we picked a good day to have this.
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, because I just had a clutch literally hatch out this weekend. I was having some technical difficulties before we came on. I was trying to broadcast with my iPad because it has a back camera, and the auditory wasn't working. You couldn't hear me. So I'm back on my laptop, and we're gonna make do because I wanted this to be kind of a show and tell. So
we'll make it work.
Yeah.
So tell us about this season. Obviously, it's been probably one of your record-breaking best seasons, if not the best season. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been my best season just as far as quantity and quality. Looks like I've got one more clutch left in the incubator, a small clutch of 6, but it's looking like right at 60 babies this year, which I did 60 babies 2 years ago and had some really nice stuff. But I think this year surpassed that just as far as quality goes. I had 4 really highly melanistic pairings go this year, which has been fantastic. I've been through the gauntlet this year. It started off very slow. I had a great clutch of 15 and ended up having 1 baby survive the incubation. So not off to a good start there, but things have picked up and have gone much better since that first clutch. And I've had incubation rates all over the place this year. 1 out of 15, 13 out of 13, 15 out of 15, 4 out of 8, 5 out of 10. So been all over the board, but that's, as you have probably already figured out, that's just the status quo and breeding chondros.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you're like Jason from Legless Luxuries and he got his perfect number.
Now, that's what we call beginner's luck.
So that's what I have to look forward to, right?
Jason produced a great looking clutch.
That clutch is fantastic. Absolutely.
So excited for him. He's got one of my animals in his collection, as do you.
Yes. She's actually right here.
Nice. She's got to be getting big now.
She is. She's a pretty good size for sure. She has not ever missed a meal either. I'll tell you that.
Nice. Yeah. So
Eater or a puppy pad. You know, she doesn't miss the puppy pad either.
So she's coming up on like what? 2 years old?
She's 2. Yeah. And probed female.
Fantastic.
So she's looking amazing though. She's got all sorts of little more and more speckles just coming in. She almost should have called her Dottie instead of Addiction because she's a little polka dot mess. But
nice. I love it. We got some great people in the chats tonight.
Yes, absolutely. They're all here for you.
No, I wouldn't say that at all. They're here for you. They can find me. They can find me all the time.
They're all here for you. So what do you want to start with, Bill? Talk to us. Which clutch do you want to start with showing off?
Well, I thought that I would try to show off the clutch that just hatched this weekend.
Okay.
I posted a video of it on Instagram earlier today. This was Freight Train bred to Freight Train's a melanistic male that John Irby produced. And I bred her to, this is actually a repeat pairing. I bred her this last clutch to a sickness female called Outbreak. And I knew this clutch was going to be nice because this is a repeat pairing. I saw the babies last year and they are pretty much carbon copy of that. I just happened to get a better hatch rate this year than I did last year. I think I ended up with maybe 6 or 7 babies last year. And I got 13 babies this year from her. And then my other Freight Train clutch was bred to Outbreak's sister named Pathogen. And I got 15 out of 15 of those babies to go and be established. And I'll show you some of those as well tonight. But let's start with the clutch that just hatched.
Yes.
And I'm going to lift my laptop up and try to.
You're fine.
Try to get a picture of this. So let's see what happens here.
We're going to make it happen, Bill.
Okay. Let's see. How am I going to do this? Can you see that at all, Jen?
All we see is your logo.
You
got to take off your backdrop.
Let's see. Let's see
if not, you know what, Bill? Try to go back in through your phone for me. Or your iPad. Try to go back in. Stay on here, but just log in through your iPad.
Okay.
Just click the link. We're going to see if we can make this work.
All right.
So you don't have to cart this laptop everywhere.
We're going to go. Let's see what happens. So how have you been, Jen?
Oh, doing good. You know, I got sucked down the Amazon rabbit hole. So it's like, you know, every time I see a green tree pop up, I see Amazon pop up and I have to do the great debate.
I know you've gotten heavily into that as well.
Mike said we'll possibly have feedback. So once you get logged in with the iPad, I'm going to mute this. All right, give me a second, Bill.
Let's see.
Mute you can log off of your tablet or off of your computer. Sorry. Just kill your computer.
Okay, let's see.
Just shut that baby down.
I don't think.
There we go. We got you, Bill.
But you can't hear me, right?
I can hear you. I don't know what we did that time, but it works. So what's
all
wrong
right.
with it?
Fantastic. Well, so this is the clutch we were talking about that just hatched this weekend. I'll try to get a little closer view of some of these.
God, these are amazing. They're so dark.
They're so dark. It's really hard to pick up any kind of significant detail on them.
There's very limited patterning on them too.
Yeah, that's been the history of this pairing, and really freight train in general has produced just some really dark, really reduced babies. Um, and this was no exception.
I love the one that's all the way to the left.
Over here?
Right there. Yep.
Yeah. It's just kind of a big mess right now. So they just hatched out. I'll probably keep them this way for another few days. They typically have that first shed, 7 to 10 days after they hatch. And so
And then you'll separate them after that.
I'll separate them before that first shed.
Oh,
I like to have them in their, ready to go tub set up when they shed. So, I usually feed a day or two after that first shed. So I'll keep them like this for a few more days.
Isaiah is asking, does one have a speckled head?
Yes. Yeah. More than one. A couple of them have speckled heads, which is really cool. Those typically are the lighter ones of the clutch that you can see the speckling on the head. Let's see if I can find that one. Yeah, this one over here. Really reduced.
Those are so pretty. Yeah, that one on the far right is super reduced too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, super. That one has almost no pattern.
So how many of those are a holdback, Bill?
Well, it's hard to say. Excuse me for 1 second. Let me get set back up.
Yeah, you're fine. Adrian asked, is it red burgundy or red brown?
Most of these are really, I would call them almost black.
Yeah.
They're that reduced, and they're that heavily patterned. Let's see if I can find a little stand here.
We have you winging it tonight, Bill.
Give me some slack, Jen.
Me, cut anybody some slack? Come on now.
I don't expect that.
Nobody ever should when they're dealing with me.
All right. Well, I'm just glad you can hear me.
I can. And your picture is amazing. So we're ready to rock and roll.
Well, good. We can, we can talk a little bit, and then I can show you some babies from the first freight train clutch that are already established,
Okay.
as well as we move along.
So you have one more clutch you said is in the incubator. What pairing was that from?
So that was Sickness 2.0, bred to a female called Mountain Drew. And this is a first time pairing for those two. Sickness 2.0 is a very young male. He was 2.5 when he bred and produced this clutch. And that's really, really young for a male chondro to go. Freight Train didn't go his first year till he was 5. And then he's been a prolific breeder since then, producing a couple of clutches every year for me for the last couple years. So that's just how they go. It can be frustrating, when you want that male to breed. The females, I'm much more forgiving. I won't even try to breed them until they're 4 or 5 years old. But I'll give a 2-year-old male a chance. There's nothing bad can come of that, giving them a try. So I was ecstatic when they locked up. I only saw one witness lock from that pairing, but
It was enough to do the job.
Got the job done. So super pumped up about that.
Now, will those babies be hopefully more super dark babies, or?
Yeah, the first clutch looks almost identical to the clutch that I just showed you. They're all very, very dark. Most of them are minimally patterned, a lot of gold diamonds as opposed to the yellow, the typical yellow that you see on red Neos.
Yeah.
So, they really look almost identical to the clutch that I just showed you. And that makes sense because pathogen and outbreak are sisters. So it would make sense that they produce
similar.
Yeah. So
any other pairings that you have going on this year that you're hoping will go, or you're done for the season and it's a wrap after this last clutch?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm pretty seasonable on my breeding. So, I do light cycling, food cycling, temperature cycling. I bred 11 females this year, and seven of them have gone on to produce clutches, which is it's a good, a good percentage. I think that's, I'm happy if I can get half the females to go that I breed in a season.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been super happy with the results this year. Like I said, other than the slow start, it's been really, really a fantastic year for me. I'm super happy about the way that it's gone, and Rico and the Chondro gods have blessed me this season for sure.
Lisa said you make it look easy.
Listen, there's nothing easy about this, but what is easy is when you have numbers. Up until 3 or 4 years ago, I was really just consistently producing one or two clutches a year, and all that changed when my females eventually, became to breeding size and breeding age, and again, it's just a numbers game.
Yeah, so I got 3 more years for yours. No pressure.
I'd like to tell you those 3 years will go by fast, but they won't.
No, they'll drag on. It's okay.
Yeah, they'll drag on, but
The
that's
last couple
okay.
years have flown by, so
Yeah, that's okay. I think you're becoming a pretty seasoned keeper right now. I think it's important that, you're doing things the right way. Try to convince people not to just go out and purchase, a bunch of adults and think that you're going to have success doing that, because that would be the exception and not the rule.
yeah. I have zero regrets of doing it this way. I mean, I do have the breeder pair, of course, but I mean,
Yep.
they're that and a big fat zero for me at this point. So,
Well,
whatever.
it takes these things a long time to get acclimated. In fact, the only year in the last probably 12 years that I didn't produce chondros was the year that I moved. And even though it was a 45-minute move, so not like going halfway across the country, but even that year, I didn't pair a single chondro, because I knew my ultimate results would be better if I was just patient and I let those animals acclimate here to the new facility. And yeah, I wasn't disappointed, because the following year I ended up having, other than this year, my second best year. So just gotta be patient, and just try to learn from other people's experience with things. And I just knew it was the best. My best plan was to just sit on them for a year, even though I had a bunch of mature animals ready to go. I sat on them for a year. So I think with your adults, it doesn't take them months. It can take them years to get acclimated,
Yeah.
and comfortable, and ready to go on to produce.
Yeah. I figured at this point, if they decide to do something, they'll do it on their own terms and whatever. I'll
Yeah, I
just
mean,
enjoy them in the meantime.
yeah, for sure. And that's the great thing about these. I've never felt like I was under a timetable to produce them, because I've always just enjoyed the animals, and it's just you just got to let them do. We have control over certain aspects of their care and their breeding, but so much we don't have control of. So
What's the plan for next year? Are you planning to top this year? Do you have any new pairings coming into rotation?
I haven't even really thought about it, to be honest. I won't even start pairing again until October or November of this year. I've got a lot of females. I've got the four or five that didn't go this year, so obviously they'll be back in the mix uh, later this year, this fall, this winter. And then I've got several females already from this year that have laid, that have gone on to really bounce back great, and they're putting their size back on. Outbreak, I reproduce, back to back years, and I do that all the time. If the females put their size back on and are ready to go, then I'll breed them back to back in a heartbeat. And I've never I've never bred a female 3 years in a row, but I've bred a female like 3 out of 4 years successfully. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how that goes.
Any new
I
acquisitions to the collection?
um Probably two animals from last year. One was a calico, beautiful calico, animal from Mark Hager that ended up being female. And then I got a Steven Saltzman animal that's absolutely fantastic. I haven't sexed that animal yet. But all those are yearlings right now. So just a couple. I'm not much of a hoarder at all. I sell almost everything I produce with just a couple of holdbacks every year. Um, and I usually will try to trade or acquire for a couple new animals every year. But my collection is to the size right now where I don't need to be building it. I just need to be maintaining.
Yeah. You hear that, everybody? So he's going to move a lot of those animals. No.
So, to be honest, those animals are already moved.
I'm sure they are. They were probably moved long before they ever came out, honestly.
Yeah, they were. I've just been super fortunate that the chondro demand, especially the high-end designer melanistic stuff, has really been in high demand. So I've got probably half a dozen people that put deposits down a couple of years ago. And then they just hoping to get, first or second dibs on animals that were produced this year. And for those people, I think they're going to be quite happy with what they get in the mail here, probably in October this year.
Yeah, I don't think there's a disappointing animal that you've produced this year.
I mean, I love them all, so far so good. They all look great. Of all of the animals that I produced this year, I ended up with one yellow neonate, which I'm going to try to
Oh, you
see
gotta
if
pull the yellow out.
I'm going to try. Hold on a sec. Let's see if this. Can you see that?
I can. So who's getting the yellow neonate?
A local guy named Nico is getting
That's
getting that yellow.
The lone yellow.
Yep. So
Chuck
it
said
looks.
you're a stud.
What's that?
I said Chuck said you're a stud.
I love my boy Chuck. Chuck's going to be here with his wife for the party in September. I've invited you every time, but you have yet to accept my invitation.
Well, I need to bring myself and all of my anchors.
No problem. Bring them.
It always falls on a weekend where I have to get my kids on Sundays, so it's like, Bill, I know I look like I'm still 21, but I'm far from 21. So doing a turn and burn after partying it doesn't sit the same way as it used to.
Well, I get it, but you're obviously you're invited. Your whole crew's invited. The party this year's on September 5th. That falls on the Friday before the Dallas NARBC, like it always does in September. So, would love to have you here. Anybody that's watching the podcast is invited. I just need to know if you're coming. It's always a big party. This year is probably going to be the biggest and best ever. I've got people from all over the world coming. The Canadians are coming down.
Trying to encourage this.
Yeah, I can't see your comments because I'm on my.
So Jordan said I can make it out for Friday and be back in time for Sunday.
Yeah, Jordan's been here at least a couple of times. He's a great guy, and I hope he can make it out. But yeah, I've got people from Canada, from Germany, Australia, UK. All those people are going to be here this September, so should be a good one.
All right, so I'll look at my schedule and see what I can figure out. See if I can pack enough Adderall so I can bounce back.
Please do. A lot of people come just for my Friday party. They don't even go to the NARBC, so you could do that too.
That would probably be what I would do, honestly.
Yeah, just come in Friday and leave Saturday.
Fly home hungover Saturday. Sleep on the plane.
Exactly. Ro was here. Ro was here last year, and I bet he's here this year too.
Oh yeah, for sure. But so part of it too, I've heard that when people go, they end up buying more snakes.
I mean, it's happened, but that's not the norm. Because, like I said, most everything
It's
is
still
accounted for. I was really male heavy from last year, so once I sexed those holdbacks, then I did release. I think I released two or three. Last year, Sal from the UK got one. Jason Amos got a couple.
hmm
Um, do you know Jason?
I don't know him personally, so I know he is transitioning from ball pythons over to chondros. And I watched his podcast with MJ, so I know he did
Okay.
pick up a couple from you.
Yeah. I don't think
Um,
he's transitioning over. I think the ball pythons are still his main
main thing,
gig,
but
but
he is getting into chondros heavily.
yeah, he is for sure. He's got several of mine now, and I know he's acquired some other kind of high end stuff as well. So,
Yeah, I think he
but
picked up somebody's collection that was down here that sold their
yeah,
stuff.
that's exactly right. I think Mike he acquired multiple animals from Mike, and several of those were from me
They
originally.
were yours,
So
yeah.
yeah, so
Lisa wrote, "Does Bill go to Carpet Fest at Reptilandia?"
I have not gone to that because that's always in October, and October's is a busy month for me typically. But I am going this year. It looks like it's going to work out well, so I will be going to Replandia in October this year for Carpet Fest, which I'm excited about because I have not been there yet.
And then Adrian said he's so tempted online to be in person would be overload. See, I agree. I can't go to a breeder's house and leave empty-handed ever. Like, it's like putting a kid in the candy store, and I'm just like, oh.
Well, I mean the purpose of me having a party here isn't to sell green
No,
tree
it's not.
pythons.
It's never anybody's purpose, but you put
Yeah,
a
I
kid in
mean
the candy store, what happens, Bill?
they want to eat the candy. Well, what typically happens is people come in and then they see the animals and a lot of people it's their first experience with a relatively large captive bred chondro collection,
Yeah.
so they are they're not used to me being able to pull out these animals and put them in people's hands, even in the middle of the night, which is kind of taboo to do with chondros because they have such an aggressive feeding response, but a lot of times when people see that they're so docile and when they talk to me and all the other people that are here that have kept them for a long time, they figure out that these things are, although they can be difficult to breed and get neos established, the actual keeping of them is just as easy as a ball python.
Oh,
No doubt,
absolutely.
no doubt about
Absolutely.
it. In fact, the rack that I have all of my babies in is the same rack that I establish my baby green trees. I mean, my baby ball pythons.
You
The
do
only
the
difference,
sea
the
serpents.
mine are animal plastics, animal plastic racks, but they're just shoebox sized tubs. And the only difference is I put a removable plastic perch in there with them. That's the only difference.
So the same exact concept as the sea serpents ones then.
Yeah. So mine have back heat.
hmm
You could use belly heat as well, but all my racks have back heat, and it gives them a nice temperature gradient for the neos, and they do great.
How long do you keep them in that shoebox rack before you're moving them up to the next size? I'm assuming you do a 6-quart initially and then go up from there, or do you do a
Yeah,
12 or
usually
15 quart?
yeah, usually like a 6 quart to a 15 quart, and that's you're talking about a year, maybe a year of age. They can spend it the first year of their life in a hatchling rack,
Yeah.
and I usually ship them out. I keep these things a long time. It, huh?
I said 6 months. You ship them
Six
out after 6 months.
after at least 6 months. It's usually
Longest 6 months of my life.
yeah. I mean, as you know, what we run into is temperature issues
Yeah.
in Texas. Even these things that are ready to go, I'm not going to put them on a plane in June or July or August. So it ends up usually being October when my temperatures permit them to be shipped, and that works out great because I'm able to hold on to them a long time, make sure they're just pounding meals. I'm out of the prolapse zone by then, and so I don't really have to worry about sending an animal that's had 10 meals and the new keeper gets it and 3 weeks later it prolapses.
Yeah.
So if I keep them this long, 6, 8 months, then they're out of that prolapse zone and they're just smashing meals like yours was. And it's just worked out really well. It's also another reason why I kind of breed them cyclically, because they're all ready to go, in October, ready to be shipped.
And then you get us hooked. So like I get this amazing animal that's so docile at shipping, and then look at the rabbit hole you've created, Bill.
Is yours still pretty docile?
Oh yeah, she's super. Like even right now, even though she's perched like in hunting mode,
Yeah.
as long as I pull her perch out of her enclosure, she'll mellow out immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the way, I would say 90+% of the captive bred animals are. There's a couple, I equate them like ball pythons. You got like 5% of ball pythons that are pretty defensive, as hatchlings and as even yearlings. But you're talking about 5%. The other 95% are really, really chill right off the bat.
Yeah. So then that's our first chondro, and then this is what happens from there.
Yeah.
I'm blaming you.
That's what I'm counting on.
Well, I'm blaming you, and I'm sure I'm not the one that blames you for the rabbit hole you put us down.
I take full responsibility.
Zero regrets, though.
Do you want to take a look at a couple of the others that have been established?
Show them off, Bill. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's see. So this is what I'm talking about. So this is their home. This is a shoebox sized tub. The only difference is it's removable plastic perch.
Cow.
This is from Freight Train's first clutch. So this is a Freight Train bred to Pathogen, which is Outbreak's sister.
That baby is a freaking smoke show.
Yeah, every single one that I pull out will look very similar to this. They're all dark. They're all really reduced. So yeah, just super lucky that the way this year's gone. Here's another one. This one's one of the larger of that first clutch.
Super reduced pattern on that one too. Holy cow.
Yeah. It's ready to eat too, if you can't tell.
Oh yeah, it's looking.
Oh yeah.
Super pretty.
So, yep, so the difference in these things are like going on 2 months old now. The animals I just showed you.
Like the Matrix, you got to follow the rabbit tattoo.
Say that again.
Adrian said it's like the Matrix, you got to follow the rabbit tattoo.
Got to.
Yeah, no, this is yours. Let's see if she'll let me pull her out. Oh, you're really in hunt mode, huh? Hey, friend.
There she is.
Let's see if I can get a focus on her.
She's gotten big.
Oh, you are not kidding. I'm trying to get the camera to focus. So you can kind of, there it goes.
Yeah, I see it great now.
All the dots on her.
Yeah. Are those white scales?
They are.
It's a great look.
And so there's like white, there's a couple yellow. She's still got like super light blue dorsal markings too, but it's more and more of those scales are coming in.
Yeah, she looks great. She's perfect size, perfect body habitus. So you've done a good job with her.
Very happy with her, Bill. Definitely happy that she was the first one I ever got, for sure.
Me too.
And the fact that she's a female is even better. That just takes the cake.
Absolutely. Did you probe her?
I did.
Nice. Good for you.
So it took me a little bit, but
it's not that hard. It's really, it helps if you have a second set of hands to do it.
Yeah. Well, she was calm. I just let her kind of settle in my hands for a little bit, and then I did it. She was pretty easy to do it. It was just me. It's different for me because I was like, I needed her to have more size. Like I had people 6 months ago like, you could probe her. I was like, I'd rather get a little bigger. You know, I'm not in a rush. So
Yeah, my perfect size is like an 18-month-old. That's when I'll start to probe them when they're about 18 months old.
but yeah, no, she's super cool. She's got a lot of blue like along the lines of her body too, which is cool too. So it'll be fun to watch her, see how much more dots she gets. But
Yeah, fantastic.
I have a Jaeger female, so I'm happy with that.
The Jaeger, I lost him maybe almost 18 months ago. So yeah, you've got something that won't be recreated.
Yeah, no, so super thrilled. Now I just got to get my ass on the list for a second one. I'll put you back in a minute. She's getting ready to come off her perch. So what other babies do you have to show us, Bill? Besides your one yellow, your super dark established, what else you got cooking in there?
I mean, we can look at a few more from that same clutch.
Yeah.
Let's see. Finally getting the hang of this a little bit.
You're doing good. You're gonna be like an old pro.
There's another one from that clutch.
Does that one have a black dorsal pattern?
Yeah, it does.
That is freaking insane.
Yeah, those red eyes are very common with these freight train babies as well.
That is freaking insane.
Let's see what else. Here's another one.
No, see, I like the other one before.
The other one before is a little darker.
Yeah, but it's the black dorsal that I'm like.
Yeah, these things. I've had a chance to watch some of the animals from last year mature, and a lot of them have already gone through their color change. All of them have varying degrees of melanism, and I like the fact that a lot of them have a lot of black on their face.
Yeah.
I really like that look. In fact, let me show you one. Let me show you one of my holdbacks from last year real quick. Let's see if we can get a look at this one.
That one's freaking, yeah. You've posted that one recently, haven't you?
I think so.
Yeah, I want to say that I like drooled over that one.
Yeah, this one's actually a female. I just probed her a couple weeks ago.
She's freaking insane looking.
Yeah, I really like the direction she's moving. And she's got good size on her too for being less than 2 years old.
So Bakesball said, "Hey Bill, let's see one from the cyanosis clutch."
Okay.
And
So
then
that's a Scarface bred to cyanosis.
that's beautiful too.
Yeah, really pretty. This one's really dark. The light washes it out a little bit,
Yeah.
but that's really dark. I'll show you one more. I like this one too.
Yeah. I actually like that one better.
Yeah. Yeah, cyanosis is a blue line female. She's absolutely gorgeous.
Lisa asked, when do they usually start their color change Does it take a long time like a red Biak?
Nowhere along as a Biak typically to change. These things usually start changing, within the first 18 months. So they tend to change pretty quick.
Where are you going, this thing? Look, see, Bill, proof in the pudding right here. You did this.
I know, right? Now
But
you don't want to put it back.
like this. She's been like this since I opened her container when you shipped her to me.
Yeah. Yep. That's just kind of the MO of these things. They're pretty docile.
She's not the brightest tool in the shed, but
None of them are. They will try to find a way to kill themselves if you let them.
yeah. We'll give her some grace because she's pretty, but she is definitely not the smartest one.
Yeah, I think that's I think most people that have kept chondros for a long time would agree with your sentiment. But beauty comes a long way.
Yeah, well, it is hard though sometimes to look past the stupidity when she strikes and wraps her puppy pad consistently. Yeah. I'm like, this is great.
You probably figured out you have to have every single cord very well secured, like your light cord, your
or they find
radiant heat panel cord. If you give them a millimeter of room, they will wedge themselves in there and use that cord as a perch, which is, I've never lost an animal that way, but I know people that have literally just strangled themselves trying to wrap around a light cord perch or a heat panel cord.
I've gotten to the point where I put little guards on the cords so they can't wedge.
Yep. You'll figure out little things like that people aren't apt to tell you, right? Like make sure all of those cords are well secured.
Make sure you have 20 sets of tongs so when they grab the feeder and the tongs, you can just move on to the next snake.
Absolutely. It's a good problem to have, to have that feeding response.
Definitely
they'll try to eat anything that you introduce to them once they get established.
I'd rather them want to eat everything than be the polar opposite and be a pain in the ass to feed too, so.
For sure. Yeah, I take care of that before they leave here because they can be a pain in the ass to feed.
What did Chuck say? I put pieces of tile sponge in the wire voids.
Yeah. You'll figure out whatever works for you.
Little tricks there are.
Yep.
So have you changed anything up with any of your processes, any of your plans, anything since the last time I had you on the show? Learned any new lessons?
I think the biggest thing I learned this year is I had some old incubation tubs that worked great for me, but some of them were starting to crack and leak. And so I got a new tub set up, and that was one of the errors that I made. That's why I had such a low hatch rate on that first clutch. When you incubate these things, especially early on, minimal or zero airflow is a key to keeping the eggs well hydrated. And if you have too much airflow, especially early in the incubation process, they can dry out. And that's what happened to my clutch. Even though I thought the lid was well secured and it was giving me a real well secured, non-ventilated tub, it wasn't. There was micro airflow that was escaping through the lid. And so they dried out. So once again, after doing this for 12, 13 years, I learned a valuable lesson this year. So I went back to the old tubs that I had that were still functional. I went back to those, and then the clutches that I needed to, I evolved into a different tub where there was much less airflow, and my hatch rate has gotten, back to where it should be.
So did you find replacement tubs that are the same as what you used to have? And were you successfully?
No, I couldn't find those. But I found Steven Saltzman told me about a setup. He used a Cambro tub that came with a sealable plastic lid that formed an airtight seal on the top. And so between those and the old ones that I had that were still functional, I've gone back to a more reasonable and successful hatch rate.
Now you got my wheels turning because I have. I'm wondering how much airflow I have on my tubs.
Well, you're not incubating anything.
No, not right now. But I am one of those. So call it a personality flaw. I am very much OCD when it comes to things, and I'm a planner. Like, I don't want to be blindsided to save my life. That's why I don't like surprises. Nobody ever surprised me with anything because I hate surprises.
Well, the good thing that you've done, and I tell people this all the time, I cut my teeth on incubating ball python clutches. I mean,
Yeah.
I incubated hundreds of ball python clutches before I incubated my first
Well, those
green
I
tree clutch.
like set it and forget it. I mean, I don't open those tubs up for 55 days.
Yeah, but you have to have your incubator dialed in, right? You have to make
Yeah.
sure that your incubators, has consistent temperatures. Like you can't have big fluctuations in your temperatures. So I'm a big proponent of kind of like you. I've got a Govee in every incubator and in every tub.
Yeah.
And so I monitor those temperatures and I don't like to see more than like a half a degree fluctuation in incubation temperatures throughout like a 24-hour period. So you've got to have your incubator up and solid and consistent. And I have backups to my backups. I've got a backup incubator. I've got backup heat on both my incubators. So if like the heat goes out, all I have to do is unplug heat source number 1 from the thermostat and plug heat
Plug it
source
in the
number
new
2
one.
into
Yep.
thermostat. Just backup on top of backup and monitoring on top of monitoring. And
I'm
you
that
put
level of OCD too, Bill. So
I mean, you put your life and soul into these things, and
I mean, I haven't even had a lock, and I already have a nest box set up like Chuck has his with the camera like on a shelf because I'm like, when that time comes around, it's already here. I don't have to worry about it. Like,
I love it. I love
it's
it.
here. It might not happen for 2 more years, and that camera will be out of date, and I'll have bought a replacement. But
It's
for
all
now,
right.
it's here.
Those are the kind of things that will make you a successful breeder.
Yeah, being OCD.
Yep, being OCD and having, paying the extra money for the top end equipment. Like I only use Herp stats. I mean, I know there's other thermostats on the market that people are, dependent on, rely on. I've used Herp stats for 20 years, and I can think of the number of problems I've had with one of those, and can't even really think of one. And so, you just want consistent, reliable equipment.
Yeah. I mean, and so I've made the switch over to all Herpostats, but I was running another brand that I've had fail. I've had 4 of them fail in 3 years.
Yeah. I ran through some other thermostats too that I had similar results with, and it's just enough's enough. Just I want the best. I want the best that I can get.
And I drug my ass, honestly, on switching to Herpostat. But Steve, a couple years ago, had an incubator with probably, I don't know, I want to say it was like 18 or 20 clutches in it that was on one of those other thermostats, and it failed on cooked the entire incubator.
Yeah. Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
If they fail off in your monitoring, then you can usually address it in enough time. But if they fail on, 12 hours, and they're probably cooked.
Adrian said, "This is my first year with the incubator. I'm dialed in, temp and humidity. It took 3 days of monitoring. I love my Herpostat 2 Pro Wi-Fi." Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like, so I do have a couple of the Herpostat 2s, but with all these enclosures, it's just easier to throw it on a Herpostat 6 at this point because it's a lot less devices for.
For sure. I've got them all. I've got Herpostat 2, Herpostat 4, Herpostat 6.
The incubators are on Herpostat 2s for me, but
Okay.
with a backup, with a battery backup, with 5 sensor pushes inside,
Yep.
Wi-Fi controlled outlets so I can kill power if I need to myself. You know.
Absolutely. It gives you such peace of mind, even especially when you're traveling,
Yes.
your ability to monitor. And then I don't have the Wi-Fi on mine, but just to be able to monitor, from around the world is so helpful now, and a lot of peace of mind, when you're not in your room. I'm lucky. I'm in my room every day. I'm in my room most of the day, every day. So I have a lot of eyes on, but I do travel a fair amount.
Hmm.
And when that happens, I think accurate and predictable monitoring and equipment is it's just a gotta have.
I agree. 110%. And for me, I probably would do the same without the Wi-Fi controlled, but because I work like an hour and a half from my house, I'm always gone. So
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
the control factor again, that OCD.
No, I love it. I think all of us have to have some of that, some level of OCD in us to do this successfully and to do it long term.
I agree. So before we wrap up, is there any other advice besides what you've already given that you would like to end this with?
Probably just one step at a time. Um, get animals from a quality source. Get captive bred animals, especially for your first one or two, and you'll, in all likelihood, have great success. And if you have success keeping them, then the next step is to have success breeding them. And so I would just say, just go slow. Enjoy the animals while you have them. Don't be in a rush to breed. And reach out, get a mentor, preferably somebody that's in your locality. Your neck of the woods, because the way that I do things in Texas is different the way like Buddy does it up in Maryland. So try to get a mentor that's relatively close to you geographically, and just go slow and get quality animals from reputable people, and you'll have a real good experience.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw you backstage real quick and I'll see you back there.
All right. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Bill. All right, everyone. That wraps up another episode of Chondro Corner on the Herp Collector Network. Don't forget to check out all the other episodes that we have on the network, including spiders, plants, if you're into ball pythons, your morph map, your clutch conversations. Other than that, thank you for tuning in tonight and have a great night.
Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner, where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every step